photographer and obviously an actor. Please welcome him on stage
I have a loud voice, I don't know. Firstly, good evening. Actually, I get very hassle when I'm involved for events like this because the last time I was called to a why something kind of event. So in my head, youth is actually I realize it's very, very relative. Like I'm an actor, I'm 5 years old as an actor, so I assume as a young actor. So I think about 2 weeks ago, I had a party in my house in Bombay, and there was this very fine lady who came up, very pretty looking, and she was some pageant winner kind of person. And then I was surprised, she spoke Telugu. And I was obviously a South Indian, the South Indian me gets up. And I start chatting with her, and then I figured she's from Vizag and all of that stuff. And then halfway in that conversation, she said, all of us got very excited when your film Leader came out. So like, there you go, now you're talking. And then she said, it was right after our pre-finals. Pre-finals is a word I heard a long time ago in my life. I said, so what kind of pre-finals to what? She said, for my 10th boards. So I felt like a relic or something in that form. So clearly it's damn relative. As of now, so I get the why part of everything nowadays. So adventure, when they got to adventure in youth, the reason I told you this is post that I kind of understood that every few years the ideas or the ideologies of every single age group kind of keeps changing so much. Say I'm 30 now, and a 30-year-old 5 years ago doesn't think the same way as I did. Nor the 25-year-old 5 years later would not think the way I do. It's such an evolving time in terms of whether it's education in any form, whether it's media, whether it's any single avenue that you pick. Like I was chatting with this film professor. They're very, very boring people, but I was chatting with one of them. And they were actually trying to figure a method. And when they said all through school or all through college, you kind of were taught to remember certain things. You were taught history, you were taught basics of this. Because at that point, when that system was built, there was not access to enough information. But today, I mean, it's on your cell phone. I mean, that's I can tell you when Mahatma Gandhi woke up and did this on that certain date at that certain time, just on the cell phone. So that part of remembering kind of goes out, and then so they try to figure out this new method to kind of try to teach people. So that's so then it's I was actually quite excited because I remember when I was in class 8, I told my mother once, I said, because I failed in class, I told her, I said, don't ever let school interfere with my education, and I got a slap. But still, but the moral is, what I was trying to get at is discovering yourself. Now, whether through adventure, whether through any other form, it's still discovering yourself. So let me give you a little brief journey of how I got here. I was a kid who was born in Chennai. I grew up in Hyderabad. So I was a Tamil boy in a Hindi city, and I didn't speak any Telugu at that point either. I went to a school called HPS. I was a terrible student. I could not do anything in math. The only good thing I knew was I spoke some kind of English, and I did decently well in some other subjects. But no, I was a very, very bad student. Now, when I started being terribly bad in school, and when the others kept moving forward, post my 10th grade, when people went abroad to study, they wrote SATs, post that, then got into fancy colleges, got all those. Now the fear started building me so much that, okay, no, I'm not getting anywhere clearly post this. But what I realized, knowingly or unknowingly, what I did all my childhood, was as my family, I don't know if you know, they're all also part of films, they've been part of films for many, many years, from my grandfather's times. They moved to Hyderabad as well at that point. And we started building a film studio. So when I moved in the basement of my house, we had a big, large editing suite where we edit movies. Back then it was all manual. So when I was in class 5th, 6th, 7th, That was the time I used to hang around at home post school. I learned how to edit with a bunch of editors, just hanging out in my house. Now, when I was in class 12, we were building a TTS, a sound theater, and I understood how to mix sound. I understood how to record sound. I understood how to remix stuff. I knew all of those things. So actually, by the end of class 12, I was actually graduated out of film school. That's exactly what I did. So what I realized is I just learned things that I enjoyed doing, and then they became my skill sets. I moved on then from that to doing visual effects, which was not really a job at that point. It was just a bunch of junkies from design schools all over the country sitting in one place and trying to do some fancy things in films. And there you go. And then now, post that, I got into this corporate crazy jungle, and now I've sold my company, and then I didn't have a job. Now then I decided what to do, and there you go. Now I'm an actor. So it's been quite a mad journey. It's not really any format that I followed while growing up. And so actually, before I was speaking, they said, "Tell me some adventurous stuff that you do." I said, "No, my life is full of adventure. That's all I do as a job. That's my living." Like what I did this week was, I jumped off a chariot. I was rolled on the ground twice. I was airlifted 40 feet, and I had an elephant running towards me, and I had to smash it with my club. Now that I do as a job and a living. So, I'm now shooting for a period war film, and I've been to the hospital 3 times already. 2 broken knees, 1 broken wrist, and well, that keeps us going. And what it gets us every single time you're down, you come back up with so much more force because, well, I do it because I'm scared. I do it because I am scared somebody else might take that spot, and so I keep going forward. And that's what adventure has helped in my life. And what I realized is, as an actor or as anybody in any field, things you learn as a child, things you learn as you like these things, whether it's sport, whether you're a soccer player, whatever you do in school, those are the only skill sets that are left with you for as long as you live. Anything you learn post 30 is going to stay as long as you practice. After it's all gone. So what the only suggestion in some form I'd like to make to youth or people growing up now is just like whatever you do and just keep doing it. And that's pretty much it. And so I get scared when you guys are quiet. So let's, you can make it interactive. I do all these crazy things. You can shoot out questions you want. I can go on. Yeah? Somebody said yeah, yes.
Probably need a chair.
Talking about actors, I've had a few friends among the fraternity. What I've noticed, it's a very uncaring, very insecure, extremely dynamic profession is what you are into. And where you live many lives, you have many emotions. And how do you keep your sanity? How does an actor keep his sanity? How does he or she remain grounded?
Who said we're sane people? Good.
So, recognition. Once I went to Bombay, and that's something which I always thought, I mean, what drives a person to keep at a profession which takes so much out of him or her?
So one is not saying is, if you see the film business across the world, not forgetting, forget Bollywood, forget Telugu films, but the entire planet of cinema operates on a 5% success ratio. Now if you see in India, we have about 1,500 to 2,000 films that release every year, which get to theatres. How many have you watched? 10, 5. How many have made money? 2, 3. And that's the space that we're in. So any space, and it is extremely competitive. It is, I mean, you're as good as your last film. You're as good as what you've delivered. And that's the reason for insecurity. That's the only reason, because you constantly want to be on top. You constantly, because you have to keep running to be in the same position. That's what this space is all about. Now, going through different emotions, going through different, well, that's the job you took. That's the life we chose. And yeah, I mean, some of us, so I mean, yeah, I understand, totally understand where you're coming from in terms of people changing for the better or for the worse. Now, there are a lot of times, well, actually, I took that call before I became an actor. Like, talk to myself, I can't talk to the others. Then I said, let my life before being an actor and post that be exactly the same. Which is why I'm up to a lot of nonsense, and I'm sure most of you are reading the papers. But, so that's a decision that I took. I said, I'm going to continue having the same friends, I'm going to continue going to the same places, I am going to continue living my same life.
And when I look back into the mirror, I see the same person as a. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So physically the dimensions have changed, that's about it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Well,
just evolved out of the whole cinema.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, one with parts of films. I realize that's the only thing I know. I mean, that's the only thing I grew up with. And I'd like to continue acting, I'd like to continue producing, I'd like to write, I'd like to eventually do everything in cinema in this big ocean that I know. I'd like to do as much as I can. That's about it. Thank you, my pleasure.
Media in today's business scenario, I think it's both the film business, entertainment, and also IT.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of tell how the social media plays its role in brick and mortar shops, that'll be great.
So,
I thought to that, but I thought that about
see, but let's talk about social media to start with. That's the last thing that you asked, and that's the first thing that came to my head. Now, that's something in terms of we use it very, very extensively, whether it's for promoting films or whether it's marketing a new song or any form, anything that we have to sell. Social media has now become such a large part of it. Now, but we still don't identify where it's going there. The only good thing that's done is it's kind of given us a direct interaction to people. I mean, whether it's Twitter or whether it's any of these other social platforms that we're on. So what we're saying is the exact thing. So that's what it's broken. Now, whether it's good, whether it's bad, nobody knows. But yes, definitely it's created a lot of awareness in a community that watches very little cinema. And if you see, there'll be many films that are very big at the box office, but you see the hits of the trailer on YouTube will be very, very minimal. So that film is not a film which is going well in this sector. So one is at least we identify with how this film can be marketed or portrayed. So that's why we use social media. Now, in terms of you come back to the animation and the visual effects industries. Now, when I started in about 2004 or 4 years. When I was running this visual effects company called Spirit Media. It was partnered with Satyam's BPO on called Mukuna at that point. So that's a little corporate side to me in some form. Now, it started off as a very creative shop. It was creating unimaginable things on celluloid. It's a bunch of creative people getting together and adding to the vision of a filmmaker, saying this is what this can become. But eventually it became like a sweatshop. We had like 500 artists doing some 5,000 things, and so even today now it's kind of getting there, but still there's a very thin line where you draw what is a process and what is not. And that's where there was a big shift in this industry. And you see, every year there are many companies that start. The next year, those many companies are also shut. So it's a strange business. Not only here, across the world, and that's the same. Thank you.